Hey guys, hope you're all having a fantastic day. If you wouldn't mind, please like, comment, and hit that subscribe button. If you see this, I actually got hurt at work, so that's why I don't have the full hat covering. I am wearing my Make America Great Again hat on. We are reacting to the MSDNC paid propagandist interview with Kirsten Welker and Donald Trump, where he owned her. She tried to get a lot of got you moments. I haven't watched the full interview yet, but we are going to be starting right where it gets good, where they talk about the border situation and inflation, because I feel like at the beginning they weren't really talking about anything of relevance, and this is where it gets to the goods of America, where we actually voted on like the most important issues in America. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, if you want me to react or talk about anything in the future, just let me know in the comment section. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. America first all day. Let's get it started, y'all.
I do want to talk about the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, said he will not leave his post even if you ask him to. Will you try to replace Jerome Powell?
No, I don't think so. I don't see it, but I think if I told him to, he would. But if I asked him to, he probably wouldn't. But if I told him to, he would.
You don't have plans to do that right now?
No, I don't.
Okay, let's talk about mass deportation, one of your big agenda items. You've talked about prioritizing people who have criminal histories.
Correct.
But is it your plan to deport everyone who is here illegally over the next 4 years?
Well, I think you have to do it. And it's a hard...
Hey, Sharon, hope you're having a great day. Not a lot of people have joined. I believe it's just 2 other people right now. YouTube has really been going low on my numbers lately, but before I had a lot. Now, this past month, something weird's been happening, but you know what? It's not going to stop me. I haven't watched this interview yet, so we're going to react to this together. Have you seen this MSNBC interview yet? I'm sure that he will own Kirsten Welker because she is just a DNC shill, as we all know.
It's a very tough thing to do. It's, but you have to have, you have rules, regulations, laws. They came in illegally. The people that have been treated very unfairly are the people that have been online for 10 years to come into the country. And we're going to make it very easy for people to come in terms of they have to pass the test. They have to be able to tell you what the Statue of Liberty is. They have to tell you a little bit about our country. They have to love our country. They can't come out of prisons. We don't want people that are in for murder. So we had 11,000 and 13,000 different estimates, 13,099 murderers released into our country over the last 3 years.
What's going on, Squid Man?
They're walking down the streets. They're walking next to you and your family, and they're very dangerous.
The 13,000 figure, I think, goes back about 40 years.
No, it doesn't. No,
That's
it's within the 3-year period.
figure.
It's during the Biden.
If you guys see why I took my hat off, this is still kind of sensitive right here. I actually cut myself really bad the other day at work, like cut my head open. It was just gushing blood for a good 20 minutes. And I had to have a medic come on site at work to make sure that it wasn't like a concussion or anything, but it still hurts till this day. Like even if I bend down, I get dizzy. It happened 4 days ago, so I am recovering. It was painful, but I am better now. That's why if you see me with this, that's exactly what it's from.
No, that was a fiction that they put that out. This was done by the Border Patrol. It's 13,099, and it's during the Biden period of time. And these are murderers, many of whom murdered more than one person.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
You don't want those people.
I feel a lot better so far.
But you're saying something, sir, that's significant. I just want to make sure I'm clear, which is that you're saying, yes, you're going to focus on the people with criminal histories, but everyone who's here illegally has to go.
I'm saying this. We have to get the criminals out of our country. We have to get people that were taken out of mental institutions and put them back into their mental institution, no matter what country it is.
Me too.
You know that Venezuela, their prisons are at the lowest point in terms of emptiness that they've ever been. They're taking their people out of those prisons by the thousands, and they're drunk. And just to get back, because I know exactly what you're getting at. Number one, we're doing criminals, and we're going to do them really rapidly. We're getting the worst gang probably with MS-13, and the Venezuelan gangs are the worst in the world. They're vicious, violent people. And you see what they've done in Colorado and other places. They're taking over, literally taking over apartment complexes and doing it with impunity. They don't care. They couldn't, they just are, they're in the real estate business.
The local police say that is not the case in Colorado.
Oh, it's totally the case. I mean,
wow.
You don't believe the local police.
I play it. I used to play.
She is such a paid propagandist. Kirsten Welker is a disgusting human being. We've seen the pictures and videos of literally these gangs taking over like apartment complexes and the cops doing nothing about it. And it's because it's Democrat ran and because Democrats are not for law enforcement. Disgusting. We expect nothing less from this paid propagandist, though.
And at my rallies every single night. No, they're breaking into doors. They're taking over the building.
But sir, you
And by the
raised
way,
the
the
point.
police are afraid to do anything.
You raised the point that the logistics are complicated. You said
Sure
it
they
yourself.
are,
You would
but
need
everything's
24
complicated.
Yeah, you mean you need 24 times more ICE detention capacity just to deport 1 million people per year, not to mention more agents, more judges, more planes. Is it realistic to deport everyone who's
You have
here
no
illegally?
choice. First of all, they're costing us a fortune.
Yeah.
But we're starting with the criminals, and we got to do it. And then we're starting with others, and we're going to see how it goes.
Who are the others?
Others are other people outside of criminals. We have convicted murders. We don't mean people that are even on trial. We have people that have murdered numerous people are on our streets and in our farms, and we have to get them out of our country.
What about?
Yeah, we have all types of criminals. We have terrorists, record terrorists in our country, pedophiles, criminals, murderers, rapists, kidnappers. And that's thanks to the Kamala Biden administration. And she's still going to try these gotcha moments throughout the interview. But Trump's just so good at talking because it's coming from a place of honesty, where the Democrats, they sound dumb because they come from no honesty. So they have to make stuff up as they go on. Where Trump, it's all honesty. So, I mean, if you're being an honest person throughout an interview and not lying, it's easy to go through it because you're just being honest about your policy positions.
Dreamers, sir, dreamers who were brought to this country illegally as children. You
Oh
said
my
once
God.
back in 2017, they, quote, shouldn't be very worried about being deported. Should they be worried now?
This is Jedi Ninja 69. You wouldn't think he's doing anything important with.
The dreamers are going to come later, and we have to do something about the dreamers because these are people that have been brought here at a very young age, and many of these are middle-aged people now. They don't even speak the language of their country. And yes, we're going to do something about the
What does
dreamers.
that mean?
And
What are you going to do?
I will work with the Democrats on a plan, and if we can come up with a plan, but the Democrats have made it very, very difficult to do anything. Republicans are very open to the dreamers. The dreamers, we're talking many years ago, they were brought into this country, many years ago. Some of them are no longer young people. And in many cases, they become successful. They have great jobs. In some cases, they have small businesses. Some cases, they might have large businesses. And we're going to have to do something with them. And
You want them to be able to stay. That's what you're saying.
I do. I
Okay.
want to be able to work something out.
She's
And
so
it should have
dumb.
been able to be worked out over the last 3 or 4 years. And it never got worked out. You know, Biden could have done it because he controlled, Congress to a certain extent, right? He could have done something, but they didn't do it. I never understood why, because they always seem to want to do it. But then when it comes down to it, they don't. I think we can work with the Democrats to work
service.
something out.
Let me ask you about another group of people, the estimated 4 million families in America who have mixed immigration status. So I'm talking about parents who might be here illegally, but
Yeah.
the kids are
I know.
here legally. Your borders
You're
are
talking
Tom
about
Homan.
separation.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are two aspects to this. Your border czar, Tom Homan, said they can be deported together. Is
Correct.
that the plan?
Well, that way you keep those. Well, I don't want to be breaking up families. So the only way you don't break up the family is you keep them together, and you have to send them all back.
Even kids who are here legally?
Well, what you're going to do if they want to stay with the father? Look, we have to have rules and regulations. You can always find something out like, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. I'll tell you what's going to be horrible. When we take a wonderful young woman who's with a criminal, and they show the woman, and she could stay by the law, but they show the woman being taken out, or they want her out, and your cameras are focused on her as she's crying, as she's being taken out of our country.
Yep.
And then the public turns against us. But we have to do our job. And you have to have a series of standards and a series of laws. And in the end, look, our country is a mess. We have the highest crime rate. And during the debate, a man whose ratings have gone way down, David Muir, said to me, no, crime is, because I had to debate 3 people, not one. Debating
True.
1 was easy. Debating 3 was actually pretty easy too, if you want to know the truth. But David Muir said, the crime rates have gone down. I said, no, they've gone up. And then the following day, they released the crime rates, and they were way up.
Yeah, the
Way
FBI
up.
statistics are, you're talking about the
Why should anyone believe anything that comes out of the FBI's mouth? I mean, these are the same people that are calling parents who don't like what their kids are being taught in school, domestic terrorists. These are the same people that are going after the political opponents while protecting the Epstein files from being released or the Diddy files from being released. They are in the same bed of the Democrat Party, hence why they're so scared that Kash Patel will be the new FBI director, because he will go after the deep state day one and declassify all these documents that the FBI has been withholding from the American people for years at this point.
His FBI
Yeah,
statistics,
well, no, but
which
he gave the wrong
are
answer. The
confusing
crime rates
based
are
on what
gone.
you're looking
Yeah,
at.
but a lot of that is migrant crime.
Let me ask you about another aspect of
Kristen,
this.
you know a lot of it's migrant crime.
Well, let me ask you about another
doesn't want to talk
aspect
about
of
it.
this that I think a lot of people are really curious about. I mean, 3% of the people who are here illegally have
Mhm.
criminal histories. But in your first administration, you had the zero tolerance policy, where we did see family separation.
Yeah.
You ended it. The purpose of that, though, to some extent, and you
And
talked
by the
about
way,
this at the time, was deterrent.
you also had it with Obama. You do know
Yep.
that.
Yep.
He didn't have a zero tolerance policy.
And you also know he built the jails for children.
Yeah.
He didn't have a zero
He built the kids in cages was built under Obama, but they tried to make it sound like that it was all Trump that built the kids in cages. Yet she won't admit it because she is owned by Obama.
tolerance policy.
But
I
in
wanna-
2014, he built the jails. You know that.
I want to ask you about the zero tolerance policy. I mean, he didn't have a
She's so
systemic, we're going to
stupid.
separate families. Families were separated when parents were a threat to the kids.
We
Let-
don't have to
let me ask
separate
you
a
about
family.
this.
Excuse me, Kristen.
Yeah.
We don't have to separate families.
Yeah.
We'll send the whole family very humanely back to the country where they came. That way the family's not separated.
Problem solved.
So no more family separations. You're not
Well,
reviving
it
the
depends
zero
on the
tolerance
family. The
policy.
family may decide to say, I'd rather have dad go, and we'll stay here. And in which case they have that option.
But you're not going to revive your
Oh
zero
my-
tolerance
hear the
policy,
answer,
which was put in
dummy.
place as a deterrent. Is there any
Ugh,
universe where you would
she's
bring
so
that back,
cringe.
sir?
We need deterrence. Look, ready? When somebody comes here illegally, they're going out. It's very simple. When they come here illegally, they're going out. Now, if they come here illegally, but their family is here legally, then the family has a choice. The person that came in illegally can go out, or they can all go out together.
So, but
And that was made very clear by Tom.
Can you imagine her, this paid propagandist? This woman is hideous inside and out. Could you imagine her interviewing a Democrat, Kamala Biden, like this? We already know they lie 24/7 on the left, but they never challenge them with rebuttal questions like this. She's trying to get these gotcha moments, and she's not going to get any because Trump's he's an alpha. He's too good. He's honest. Or the Democrats, they're never honest. But you will never see a person like her on MSDNC actually interview a Democrat like this at all.
Moment.
So you're not, at this point in time, planning to revive that zero tolerance policy where kids are
Well, if you call that,
separated.
yeah,
How
How many
I'm
times are you
doing
going to
what I
ask?
just told you I'm going to do. You know, I don't want to send the family out. I don't want to send anybody out. But I'll tell you, we have to, because otherwise we have no country. If we don't have borders, and if we don't have voting, good voting, fair voting, do you know they're still counting votes in San Diego, California? Listen, they're still counting the votes. This is almost 4 weeks. They're still counting the votes. If we don't have fair elections and honest voting and machines that work quickly, you know, if you had paper ballots, every election will be over by 10 o'clock in the evening.
So let me ask
You
you.
understand what I'm saying?
Let me, before we get
And
to.
you get a much more accurate
Yes,
count.
Before
Sharon,
we get to all
yes,
of that,
legal
let
way
me
or no
ask
way.
you about some of your other promises on this topic. You've
Okay.
promised to end birthright citizenship
Yeah.
on day one. Is
Yeah.
that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
The 14th Amendment, though, says that, quote, all persons born in the United States are citizens. Can you get
Yeah.
around the 14th Amendment with an
Well, we're going to
executive
have to get a
action?
change. We'll maybe have to go back to the people, but we have to end it. We're the only country that has it. You
Through
know,
an executive action?
you know
You're
we're
gonna
the
s-
only country that has it. Do you know, if somebody sets a foot, just a foot, 1 foot, you don't need to, on our land, congratulations, you are now a citizen of the United States of America. Yes, we're going to end that because it's ridiculous.
Through executive
know,
action? You're
We,
just-
well, if we can, through executive action. I was going to do it through executive action, but then we had to fix COVID first, to be honest with you. We have to end it. It's ridiculous. Do you know we're the only country in the world that has it? Do you know that?
Yeah.
There's
Well,
not one other country.
What about the legal
Do you know
challenge,
we're
inevitable
also-
legal
well, that's the other
challenges
thing.
that'll
Do
come?
you know we have thousands of judges? Somebody walks onto our land and we have to now say, welcome to the United States. They could be a criminal or not.
Also, not just a criminal. Good point, though, Trump. They're also getting free resources, insurance, EBT, cash assistance on a monthly basis from our taxpayers. When we get nothing, we're not even qualified. And I mean, I'm not for free handouts, but if you're giving free handouts to people breaking our federal laws, then why the hell aren't Americans getting handouts? I mean, we are the taxpayers who are fronting the bill while they spend billions on these criminals that are coming here illegally. So why isn't she asking questions like that?
Not a criminal. We release them into our country. It's called catch and release. We release them into our country. Wait just 1 second. And now they get them lawyers. And the lawyers are good lawyers. And everybody has a lawyer. And do you know how many judges we have? Thousands. Now,
oh, Squid Man, that was so funny. He owned Justin Trudeau. He owned him. And I don't even think Trudeau's going to last much longer as the prime minister. I actually like Pierre, I believe his name is. He's the conservative that's running against him. He will win, I think, an election landslide. Because, I mean, in regards to toughness, I think Biden, who's not tough at all, is tougher than Trudeau, to be frank. So, yeah, it's funny, though. Trump owned him.
This is what other countries do. They come into the land and they say, I'm sorry, you have to go. And they take them out. Okay. With us, once they touch our land, we're into litigation that lasts for years, costs us hundreds of billions of dollars. We have judges, and I'm sure they're all honest, but I don't know that for a fact. You can imagine what's going on with the judges. But just so you, because I have a lot of judges, I tell you what, I know more about judges than any human being in history. Look, we have judges. Every time somebody puts 2 feet or even 1 foot on a piece of our land, it's welcome to long-term litigation. Other countries, every other country, when somebody walks on and they see that they're here illegally, they walk them off, they take them back to where they came from. We have to get rid of this system. It's killing our country.
Let's talk about health care. I've been talking to Republican lawmakers on Capitol Hill. They say it's no longer feasible to repeal and replace Obamacare because it's so entrenched.
Listen to this.
In the system. Do you see it that way? Is that now off the table, repealing and replacing?
When John
Obamacare?
McCain let us down by voting, and Murkowski and Collins and whoever it was that voted against, but they really let us down. They did us a great disservice because we would have had great health. Obamacare is lousy health care. It's very expensive health care for the people. It's also expensive for the country, but for the people, it's lousy health care. When John McCain gave his thumbs down after saying for 10 years that he wants to repeal and replace, okay? And then he came out, put his now famous thumbs down, and he became a hero to the left. Let me tell you, if we find something better, I would love to do it. But unless we find, but one thing I have to say, I inherited Obamacare or anything else you want to go. It's got about 20 names, but I inherited it. And I had a decision to make with Health and Human Services. I had a big decision to make. Do I make it as good as we can make it, or do I let it rot? And a lot of political people said, let it rot and let it be a failure. I said, that's not the right thing to do. And I had very good people in the medical area that handled that. And I said, what do you want to do? He said, we really have an obligation to make it as good as we can. And we did. We made it as good as we can make it. Instead of making it bad where everybody would be calling for its repeal, I made it so that it works. Now,
but you did try to overturn it, sir.
It's
you did
lousy.
try to overturn it. You did have your Justice Department.
She's
charge
terrible.
the Supreme Court to
No, we
overturn
got a little bit of a surprising opinion, to be honest with you. If it would have been overturned, we would have had much better health care right now. But right now, we have something that I made the best of. I could have made the worst of it, and it would have fallen by the wayside. I did the right thing from a human standpoint. But, you know, I'm sort of proud of my decision. At the same time, sometimes I regret it. I told the people, and I gave them the money to do it. I said, fix it, make it work, because people would have suffered. But it's too bad that they voted no. I wish John McCain, he fought for 10 years on replacing Obamacare for 10 years, and then he voted against. Nobody understands it.
Sir, you said during the campaign you had concepts of a plan. Do you have an actual plan at this point for healthcare?
Yes, we have concepts of a plan that would be better.
Still just concepts? Do you have a fully developed plan?
Let me explain. We have the biggest healthcare companies looking at it. We have doctors. We're always looking because Obamacare stinks. It's lousy. There are better answers. If we come up with a better answer, I would present that answer to Democrats and to everybody else, and I do something about it. But until we have that, or until they can approve it. But we're not going to go through the big deal. I am the one that saved Obamacare.
We definitely need new plans in regards to insurance for healthcare, because a lot of these people who are in dire need for medicine, surgeries, etc., can't afford them because they're so overpriced. So yeah, I agree. We need something new in place. Obamacare doesn't help. It's just for, seems like for the poor or for the legals to receive everything for free, and then the taxpayer fits that bill as well, and then we take care of it, just like we do with them getting EBT, food stamps, free money loaded on cards every month. Also healthcare that the illegals are provided.
Say, and I did the right thing. I could have done the more political thing and killed it. And all I had to do is starve it to death.
You did try to have your Justice Department effectively kill it, though,
No.
sir.
Kill it from a legal standpoint, but from a physical standpoint, I made it work.
In your concepts of a plan, sir, will people with pre-existing conditions still have coverage? And can you guarantee their prices will not go up?
The answer is yes. They'll have coverage. You have to have it.
And what about their
Because
prices?
you know what?
What about their prices, sir?
I want the prices to go down. I want to have better health care for less money. And there are ways of doing it, I believe. And I have the smartest people in that world. You know, that's a separate world unto itself. I have the smartest people in that world looking at it and trying. And if they come up with something, I will present it. Now, maybe you won't be able to sell it, but if we get better health care for less money, I believe it's very saleable.
Just very quickly, when will we see your fully developed plan? When are you going to show
I don't know
the
that you'll
public
see it at all. I can only say
Imagine
that we have
asking
some of the
Biden
best
to come all
healthcare
of this.
people. I've always tinkered with it.
Yeah, Sharon, he's not even president yet. Could you imagine him interviewing Kamala or Biden like this, or any Democrat in general? She would just be, oh, let's talk about Trump, January 6th the whole time, giving him softball questions as usual.
I think it's a little hard to explain. Obamacare, when I took it over, was a disaster. And I made it
It has insured
workable.
20 million people.
Yeah, because of me. Because of me. If you look at what I did, I was
You
the
tried
one.
to-
I made it good.
You
Yeah,
tried
She's
to
a
repeal and
DNC
replace it,
puppet.
tried to
because if
kill
I
it,
repealed
sir.
it and replaced it, we would have had a better system, because we wouldn't have had health care.
Yeah,
And the
Squid Man, you're
Democrats
right.
would have been forced to do something. If we wouldn't have had it, the Democrats would have been forced to do something that they wouldn't do if we have it.
Let me ask you about another aspect of healthcare. You talked about this on the campaign trail,
Right.
IVF. You promised free IVF for all who want it, either through the government or through mandates with insurance companies. I've been hearing from Republican senators, some of them, who say they're not going to support that plan. How are you going to get that passed?
Well, we're going to see. We want them to pay, ideally the insurance companies to pay for it, the fertilization. I came out very early for a Republican especially, and I think they were looking for my guidance, my great wisdom, right? They were looking for it. And
Yeah, Kamala's more dumb than Biden is. And I mean, his excuse is he has dementia. But I mean, if you just look back at Joe Biden's old speeches, he was always dumb as well. He took people's speeches and used them and said they were his. Yeah. Neither of them are bright. They're very dumb. Kamala and Biden both are very dumb.
I got a call from Katie Britt, who's a terrific person, senator from Alabama. And she said, sir, we just had a really negative ruling from a judge in Alabama, conservative judge, that all of these clinics had to be closed. And she said, and she went into great detail, and she said people are devastated over it. And after literally speaking to her for 5 minutes, I issued an order, really an order in a sense. And it was a statement from the Republican Party that we are all for IVF and fertilization. Okay. The Alabama legislature met the following day and passed it. It was a beautiful thing to see. And I consider myself to be the father of IVF in a certain way. And the Republicans were very strong on the issue.
But, sir, I want to understand where it falls in your list of priorities. I mean, is this something we can expect to see you try to move on in the first 100 days?
We're going to be talking about it, and we're going to be seeing. We have a lot of other things. I have tax cuts. You know, we'll be submitting in either the first or second package to Congress the extension of the tax cuts. So that might very well be in there, or it'll come.
The liberal tears are the best. I crack up when I see those videos. I actually saw a new one the other day, this black liberal woman saying that she's going to become a slave again. Again, what do you mean past tense? You've never been a slave. And they've been so fear-mongered from these big media chains that they're going to literally be turned into slaves again because Trump was the president. Even though If you go back into your party's history, the Democrats were the party of the KKK. They also fought to keep slavery. They were the party of Jim Crow. They also voted against every bill that would have benefited the slaves from being freed. It was the Republicans who fought to free the slaves, and they are just so clueless. They have no clue that's the real history behind the slaves. It's crazy.
Sometime after that.
Let's talk about abortion, sir. You
Yeah,
have
it's so
taken
funny,
responsibility
Sharon.
for overturning Roe v. Wade. You've said that abortion is now a state issue. There are steps that you could take, though, as president to restrict abortion through executive action without
Here we
Congress.
go.
More than half of abortions in this country are medication abortions. Will you restrict the availability
Here's
of
what he
abortion
said no
pills
like
when
a
you're in
million
office?
times.
I'll probably stay with exactly what I've been saying for the last 2 years, and the answer is no.
You commit to that.
Well, I commit. I mean, do things change? I think they change. I hate to go on shows like Joe Biden. I'm not going to give my son a pardon. I will not, under any circumstances, give him a pardon. I watched this, and I always knew he was going to give him a pardon, and so I don't like putting myself in a position like that. So things do change, but I don't think it's going to change at all.
Okay. Let's talk about some of your picks to fill out your administration. You named Kash Patel to be the next
I love
FBI
that.
director. He has a list.
I'm so pumped for Kash Patel to be the FBI director. He is like one of my top favorite choices so far of Trump's new administration, because we already know what he's looked into and what he's talked about looking into. We already also know that he's going to be declassifying the Epstein and Diddy files day one. Also talked about UFO files and declassify, even though I think it's the government that's pushing that right now just for fear mongering. But who is pumped about Kash Patel? Because I'm very pumped about him.
List in his book of 60 people that he calls members of the so-called deep state. It includes Democrats like Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton. It includes former members of your cabinet, from Bill Barr to Christopher Wray. You campaigned on destroying the deep state. Do you want Kash Patel to launch investigations into people on that list?
No, I mean, he's going to do what he thinks is right.
So I hear a lot of people giving Trump a lot of crap for talking about not doing these things. This is where I'm coming from. Why would Trump, who is a 4D chess player, as we always say, why would he give away his plan? Of course, he's not going to say, yeah, I'm going to go after him. I'm going to lock them all up for committing treason, because they would run. They would pull more witch hunts. They would use more lawfare on him and his family and his voters. So, of course, he's not going to tell you that he's going to lock up these criminals. But I guarantee behind the scenes, he's like, we're going to be locking up all these treasonous criminals on day one. Why would you expose your plan? Trump's a businessman. He's a chess player. That's what he's doing.
Do you
And I
think
will
that's right?
tell you-
Do you think that's right, sir?
If they think that somebody was dishonest or crooked or a corrupt politician, I think he probably has an obligation to do it. But
Are you going to direct him to do it?
no, not at all. Not at all. We have two great people there. We have him and we have Pam. And
I
Pam
doubt
Bondi
that.
has been like a rocket ship. She's very popular and very good and very fair. And Kash Patel is very fair. I'll tell you, I thought Kash may be difficult because he's, a strong conservative voice. And I don't know of anybody that's not singing his praises. The other day I was watching, and Trey Gowdy, who's a moderate person and very smart and very respected in the party, he's Kash's biggest fan. He said, this is the most
Man, I never heard of Boogie 298A. Is that a rapper? I'll have to look it up because I love watching videos like that. They're so hilarious.
understood man in politics. He's great. I guess they worked together on the Russia hoax or something. And Trey Gowdy became a fan. Trey Gowdy. Everybody respects him.
No, warmonger.
And,
Rhino.
just like him, others also. I don't know of one negative vote. I don't think he's going to have any negative votes.
Is it your expectation, though, that Kash Patel will pursue investigations against your political enemies?
Yes.
No, I
Yes.
don't think so.
Of course
Do you
he-
want
I
to
don't
see
think
that
so.
happen?
If they were crooked, if they did something wrong, if
Yep.
they have broken the law, probably they went after me. They went after me and I did nothing wrong.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yep.
You said President Biden, quote, that you're going to appoint a real special prosecutor to go after Joe Biden. You said that
Where
during
did I say that?
the campaign.
Where?
You said that on Truth Social, June 12th, 2023. I will appoint a real special prosecutor to go after the most corrupt president in the history of the United States,
That's
Joe
true.
Biden, and the entire
Well,
Biden
that part is
crime
true.
family.
Yep.
Are you going to do that? Are you going to go after Joe Biden?
The only microwavable bacon of its kind is here.
Come on, hurry up. Oh, these stupid commercials, dude. I'm sorry, guys.
Raw to crispy in the
I'm sorry about these commercials, guys.
I'm really looking to make our country successful. I'm not looking to go back into the past. I'm looking to make our country successful.
Locking them up.
Retribution will be through success. If we can make this country successful, that would be that would be such a great achievement. Bring it back. We have a country now that's overridden with crime, that has millions of people that shouldn't be here, that should be in prisons in other countries, that should be in mental institutions. We have drug lords being dropped into our country and told never go back to their country. I'm looking to make our country great. I'm looking to bring prices down because, I won on two things, the border and more than immigration. They like to say immigration. I break it down more to the border, but I won on the border.
I'll look them up, Squid Man.
Groceries.
Definitely.
It's a very simple word, groceries. Like almost, who uses the word? I started using the word, the groceries. When you buy apples, when you buy bacon, when you buy eggs, they would double and triple the price over a short period of time. And I won an election based on that. We're going to bring those prices way down.
I want to pause here because what you're saying is significant. Because you wrote on Truth Social in 2023 that you're going to appoint a real special prosecutor to go after Joe Biden. Now you're saying you're not going to do that.
I will say this. No, I'm not doing that unless I find something that I think is reasonable.
See, there's the chest right there. I'm not going to go after him unless I find something. You don't think they don't already have all the goods on these people? They got the goods. Of course, he's not going to expose his plans. And why would he expose her to fake propagandist Kristen Welker? She is so disgusting. You would never see her ask these gotcha questions without letting a Democrat finish. If she did interview, let's say Biden or Kamala, she would let him answer and she'd let him lie without constantly trying to do these gotcha moments. It's such fake journalism.
But that's not going to be my decision. That's going to be Pam Bondi's decision. And to a different extent, Kash Patel, assuming they're both there. And I think they're both going to get approved. But while you ask me that, what they've done to me with weaponization is a disgrace.
We'll get to some of that.
Nothing about it.
Wait. You can't do one without the other. In the history of our country, nothing like this has ever happened. And I've won these cases. I've won every one, and the rest are in the process of being won. Deranged Jack Smith is on his way back to The Hague, where he can execute people. This is where he should have stayed. I think he's dangerous even being there. But I'll tell you what they've done to me in terms of weaponization, indictments, impeachments, and everything else. And in the end, it probably helped me because I got the biggest vote, the most votes any Republican's ever gotten in history.
Pam Bondi talks about investigating the investigators. Do you want her to investigate Jack Smith?
I want her to do what she wants to do.
Do you want to?
What kind of stupid questions are these? What are we in kindergarten? She's literally just repeating herself. What do you want? What do you want? He's literally saying we're going to let them independently look into him. But do you want him? Or it's their position, but do you want them? Like, these are the dumbest rebuttal questions I've ever heard. It's amazing this woman has a contract or a salary with MSNBC, but they do hire the dumbest people on this program.
See Jack Smith
Well, I think he's very corrupt, but I want her to do whatever she has to do.
Are you going to direct her
to
prosecute Jack
She's
Smith?
a very smart person. She was a great attorney general in Florida. She's very experienced. I want her to do what she wants to do. I'm not going to instruct her to do it now.
Sir, are you going to fire the current FBI director, Christopher Wray, who you appointed?
Yes.
Well, I can't say I'm thrilled with him. He invaded my home. I'm suing the country over it. He invaded Mar-a-Lago. I'm very unhappy with the things he's done. And crime is at an all-time high. Migrants are pouring into the country that are from prisons and from mental institutions, as we've discussed. I can't say I'm thrilled. I don't want to be Joe Biden and give you an answer and then do the exact opposite.
We're going to talk about
that. So I'm not going to do that. What I'm going.
No, we still can, bro. I'm just doing this quick. I promise we can, just in a little bit, because I have here. I'll call you in a little bit. I just text you, by the way, bro.
Just say is I certainly cannot be happy with him. You take a look at what's happened. And then when I was shot in the ear, he said, "Oh, maybe it was shrapnel. Where's the shrapnel coming from? Is it coming from heaven? I don't think so." So we need somebody to straighten. I have a lot of respect for the FBI, but the FBI's respect has gone way down over the last number of years.
Don't you have to fire him in order to make room for Kash Patel if he is in fact confirmed?
Well, I mean, it would sort of seem pretty obvious that if Cash gets in, he's going to be taking somebody's place, right? And somebody is the man that you're talking about.
Okay, let's talk about Project 2025. This is
Oh,
the
there we
conservative
go.
policy blueprint. You disavowed it during the campaign. You called it a product of the radical right. You've said some of their
not all.
ideas
No,
were
I said,
abysmal.
I said some of it is. Some of
Okay.
it is very good. Some of
Okay.
it's very mainstream, actually. Frankly, the Democrats should have used some of it because they went, with all the transgender that they were doing and with the men playing in women's sports.
Well-
If they wouldn't have done that, maybe they would have done better.
Well, so you take me to my question. You're now giving people involved in Project 2025 prominent roles in your administration. Are you changing your mind about Project 2025? Is this now the policy
No,
blueprint for the
no,
second Trump
No,
administration?
some people, if you take a look at the group, it was hundreds of people were involved. And I was actually, I reprimanded the whole group. I said, you shouldn't have placed this document in front of the voters because I have nothing to do with it and I'm the one that's running. You had no right to do this where you put 1,000-page document in front. And many of those things I
Yeah.
disagree with. Now, many of those things I happen to agree with. Many of those things Democrats should have agreed to. And I think they would have done much better in the election because they got slaughtered.
Well, I guess people see the list: Russ Vought, Brendan Carr, Peter Navarro, John Ratcliffe, Pete Hoekstra, Monica Crowley, and they think these are all of the people who were involved in or writing Project 2025.
they have-
This must be a blueprint for work
Yeah.
requirements, eliminating the Head Start program, criminalizing pornography. Is that what we can expect
Well, I
to
don't know
see?
how they voted. I don't know. I never spoke to them actually about it. And I purposely, and I told you,
She's so dumb.
normally it would be just the opposite. I'd review every page. I purposely didn't even want to see it because when somebody like you asked me a question about Project 2025, I can honestly say I've never seen it. I have nothing to do with it. I didn't read it, but I did hear some things in there that I would totally disagree with. And I said to the people that were really the people behind it, you know who those people are? I said, you really had no right doing this to me because they used it as a soundbite, the Democrats. And I don't know, it couldn't have been too effective because they got slaughtered, but they did use it as a soundbite.
But to people who see, oh, he's bringing in all of these people from Project 2025,
Who cares?
he must know what it is.
Well,
you say what?
I don't know
Oh
what
my
it is.
gosh.
I don't know what it is.
You still don't know
but
what
I
it
heard
is? All these
certain
people
things that I
coming
didn't
in from
like.
your-
And by the way, I heard certain things that are phenomenal. Okay?
Like what?
Like law and order. We want law and order. Okay? Little things like let's put prisoners in jail. Let's not let people come out and raid every drugstore in Manhattan so that we have to put glass up and every store is going out of business.
I used to like Star Wars, but now it's gone super woke. But I haven't watched Star Wars in years, not gonna lie, sorry.
Let me ask you about something you've referenced a couple of times in this interview. I asked you last time we sat down for an interview if you were going to pardon yourself. You said no. But now that President Biden has pardoned his son, Hunter, are you reconsidering? Might you pardon yourself?
I didn't do anything wrong. I was given the option. And the lawyers told me, a very specific lawyer, I don't have to go into who, but very high up in the administration said, sir, if you pardon yourself, you're going to look guilty. And you did nothing wrong. Oh, I had that option. I could have saved myself a lot of legal fees, but it turned out that I was right. Look at what's gone on. Everything's being dropped. I still have a Fani Willis, a total hoax. That's a total hoax. It's all being dropped. It's all been discredited. It's been dropped. There are those people that say, and this would be the first time in history, that all of those fake indictments, they were going after a political opponent. There are those that say that I actually did better in the election because of it. Now, that would be a first. I think you would agree, because normally that's like you go back to the microphones, you say, I'm leaving right now. I will leave office. I'm going back to my family and I will fight for my name. Well, I had to fight for my name in public because I didn't leave office. But no, I didn't want to pardon, and I didn't want to pardon myself. I had the option to pardon myself.
And you don't want one now? You're not going to pardon
I don't
yourself
want,
now?
What do I need one for? First of all, I've won almost all of the cases.
What if
And the
President
ones that I
Biden,
didn't win are on resuscitation.
what if President Biden offered you a pardon? Would you accept it?
I've never even thought about it. I don't think he'll do it. Look, if he did, he's the one that started this whole thing. He got the Justice Department to go after me. And the state cases are all being run by the Justice Department, which is illegal. They had their people from the Justice Department work for Alvin Bragg in order to get something going. They worked for Letitia James in the state. He had his people go from the federal government and take lesser jobs in the state in order to get Donald
And you know
Trump.
he denies he had anything to do with it.
No,
and
you
there's
can't
no,
deny it. You know why?
Yeah.
Because they were there. Wait a minute. Wait. You know, you have a tendency to sort of like slough over things. You just made a statement. His person, the top, maybe the third or second or third person, left the federal government, the DOJ, and went to work for Letitia James. And then, after they got that one started, went to work for the DA.
Let me ask you about some of this new reporting. NBC News is reporting that President Biden is considering
She
giving.
just glosses over what he just says and doesn't even comment on it because she's trying to go to your next gotcha moment. She is terrible, terrible. What do you call a news person?
Preemptive pardons to the likes of Liz
Propagandist.
Cheney, Adam Schiff, and Anthony Fauci. If President Biden doesn't issue those pardons, do you think they are going to wish that he had? Are they going to be?
Hey, Michael, thank you. Yeah, it's kind of hard not to get frustrated by this terrible reporting and questions with all these wannabe gotcha moments that Trump it's like bouncing off him right back at her because she just just as unintelligent for asking him these dumb questions, honestly.
I can tell you this about Cheney, and she's a so-called Republican. I think she hurt the Democrats terribly. When I saw that Kamala put Cheney out on the campaign trail, I said, that's the end of Kamala. I really did. I thought it was a terrible move, especially if you're a Democrat. But Cheney did something that's inexcusable, along with Thompson and the people on the Unselect Committee of political thugs and, creeps. So the Unselect Committee went through a year and a half of testimony. Wait. They deleted and destroyed all evidence of that. You know why? Because Nancy Pelosi was guilty. Nancy Pelosi turned down 10,000 troops. You wouldn't have had a J6 because other people were guilty. The people that said that I attacked 2 Secret Service agents in a car. I grabbed one around the neck. I was then rebuffed and I grabbed the other one. These are 2 of the toughest men anywhere on the planet. They happen to be slightly younger than me, maybe, just a little bit. Let me just tell you. They testified. They said it was total.
Well, A Perfect Project has really, really had a huge return on investment.
And all of this stuff came out. People lied so badly. Now, listen, this was a committee, a big deal. They lied. And what did they do? They deleted and destroyed a whole year and a half worth of testimony. Do you know that I think those people committed a major crime.
Sir.
And Cheney was behind it.
Well,
and so was Benny Thompson and everybody on that committee.
We're going to.
For what they did,
Yeah.
honestly, they should go to jail.
So you think Liz Cheney should go to jail?
For what they did.
Everyone on the committee, you think
I think
should go to
everybody
jail.
anybody that voted in favor.
Are you going to direct your FBI director and
No.
your attorney general
kind
to
of
send them to
stupid
jail?
question- questions
I
are
think
these?
that they'll have to look at that, but I'm not going to.
She keeps on literally going in circles, asking the same questions over and over. As I previously said, he is a 4D chess player, one of the best ever. Why would he give away his plan to arrest these criminals? Because again, if he did, they would be even doing more lawfare on Trump to make sure that he wasn't inaugurated. But he's not going to give away his plan at all. Why would he? He doesn't trust you. I don't even trust you, Kristen Welker, you DNC shill. Why would Trump give you his plan?
Focus on drill, baby, drill.
When you say that,
On
it carries
strengthening the-
weight, though.
Oh, my
You
gosh.
tapped these people to
He's
lead
terrible.
the Justice Department and FBI.
They can do whatever they want.
Okay.
Biden can give him a pardon if he wants to, and maybe he should. Just remember, Unselect Committee, a year and a half of sworn testimony, and after getting all of the testimony, they deleted it. Wait. And they destroyed almost everything. There's nothing left. It's unprecedented.
And they deny
if you
doing
do that in a civil case, you go to jail.
They deny doing that. And officials say that the order never came in for the
They put
National
out
Guard.
a
But
statement.
on January 6th, let me ask you this about January 6th. I think
Benny
you're going to want to
Thompson
answer
wrote in a
this.
statement that he has destroyed
Yeah.
all evidence.
Let me ask you this about
She has a little earpiece in here where they're like, don't let them continue because they will expose us for being the frauds that we've been complaining about when it comes to January 6th for what? 2 years now. 4 years now. They've been repeating it on repeat every day about January 6th. Look at Trump's expressing. He's like, this woman's an idiot.
January
Amazing.
6th.
I wish you could be you have such potential. If you could be just non-biased, you hurt yourself so badly. I'm telling you, they deleted
love
and
that he
destroyed
called
all
her
the
out.
evidence. Everyone knows it.
Call her
And
out.
you slough it off like it doesn't mean anything.
No, I'm
If
just
I
saying
did
they
it-
deny it. That's all I'm saying.
Kristen, if I did it, you would be standing up in that chair
Yep.
shouting at me. And you
Yep.
know what I'd do?
Yep.
I'd say, you got me.
Let me
They have done something so illegal. They have a committee
Yeah, it's
sworn
treason.
to. And because it was so bad, the only reason
And they've spent millions of taxpayer funds, our funds, on this bogus committee where they've literally just made it a circus while using the taxpayer funds of America, who are barely getting by, to promote this circus. It's a joke.
did it is because the testimony turned out to be in favor of me. Like Secret Service testified and disputed everything. It made them into a bunch of liars. Not Secret Service, it made the people. They got rid of it because it made Nancy Pelosi, the mayor of DC, so many people look like criminals. And I will tell you, it's illegal for them to delete and to destroy that evidence.
Yep.
Let me ask you about January 6th in a different capacity, okay?
Changes
I
the
think you're going to
subject.
want to answer this question. You promised to pardon those who attacked the Capitol on
Attacked the
January 6th.
Capitol.
Are you still vowing to follow through with that promise?
We're looking at it right now, most likely, yeah.
Well, you
Those
know,
people have suffered.
Hey, I mean, 99% of these people were either older ladies, men who are just walking around the Capitol taking pictures. I mean, the only unarmed person that was killed was a Trump supporter named Ashley Babbitt. Pray for her and her family. My prayers go out to her and her family. And yeah, we know that there were feds in the crowd. Guaranteed those were the agitators that were breaking the windows. We know that he offered 10,000 service members on January 6th, which Mario Bowser denied. Let's see, Nancy Pelosi was on video admitting that was her fault. 100% DNC staged.
Long and hard. And there may be some exceptions to it. I have to look. But, if somebody was radical, crazy, there might be some people from Antifa there. I don't know, because those people seem to be in good shape. Whatever happened to Scaffold Man? You know who Scaffold Man was? He stood on a scaffold telling everybody to go and nothing happened to him. Whatever happened to Ray Epps? Now, I don't know anything about Ray Epps, but it was sort of strange.
have
the
you
way he
bring
was
that up?
talking. Where is he? What happened to him?
She's going to deflect on this whole entire statement that Trump's saying, watch, I'm calling it now. She's going to go to, because sure, you're going to pardon him. That's going to be
Because the people that did very little, they arrested an old woman because she,
As I said,
I don't think she did anything. They
Nope.
don't even know what she did. These people have suffered. Their lives have been
Yep.
destroyed.
Yep.
And yet in Portland, where they burned down half the city,
Yep, the BLM riots where they burned down cities, attacked cops, killed people based on their race. Yes, people were killed, and this was going on for months on end. It's disgusting what was allowed, but they want to bring up January 6th 24/7 every day.
they burn it down all the time. It's like a
So
routine occurrence.
irritating.
They don't do anything. They attacked the courthouse, federal courthourse. They always say federal building. Okay.
Yep.
They
Yep.
destroyed the beautiful limestone exterior of the courthouse in Portland. They killed people in Portland. Seattle, people got killed in Seattle. They took over a big chunk of the city. They took it over. They took the city away. Minneapolis, it looked like when they said this is a friendly protest.
Oh, she can't
and
have
yet
that.
over the poor
She's trying to talk
Slav
over him.
from CNN, his shoulder, the entire city was burning down. It looked like World War II. Nothing happened.
but
Yep.
Wait, nothing happened. They took over the police station.
Look at her. She's so dumb.
They took over the police station in Minneapolis. They burned it down. Nothing happened to
I
anybody.
just want to
And
say,
yet these people
yeah.
have been in jail.
Yep.
And I hear the jail is a hellhole.
Yep.
They've done reports, and you would say that's true. They've done reports. This is the most disgusting,
Yep.
filthy place. These people are living in hell.
Let me
And
just
I think it's very unfair.
But-
So,
but-
yeah,
but let
most
me-
likely I'll do it very quickly.
very quickly. Okay.
She's trying to change the subject because she knows it's going to expose her network for being complicit during those times, for saying they were all peaceful protests.
But some of them, 169 of them, have pleaded guilty to assaulting police officers.
Because they had no choice.
900 pleaded.
Sharon, the point of BLM coming back is, New York City has some BLM members wanting to start a riot, thanks to Daniel Penny. Such a joke. Like, there was mixed color people that were helping him hold him down. It's so stupid. These BLM is the biggest scam and the biggest joke in our, like, one of the biggest jokes in our country's history, because we're going through a lot of jokes right now. BLM, I call it buy large mansions, to be honest, because that's all they did. They spent the money on millions for themselves, buying extravagant houses, and then they put the rest of the donations into these drag queen story hours organizations. BLM, that's it. Buy large mansions for themselves and their own security while promoting riots, while spending all the other donations on these drag queen story hour BS that they've been pushing on the children. People in her earpiece are yelling, change the subject quick. Yeah, I guarantee it.
Guilty to other crimes. They're also going to be eligible for a pardon from you?
Listen, it's a very tough system. Do you know, almost nobody, I saw people that didn't even go into the building and they were convicted. And you had the police saying, come on in, come on in. I mean, you know, the police are saying, come on in, everybody, come on in. They had people, you know, you have a lot of cameras. They don't want to release the tapes. They don't want to release the tapes.
So, but you're going to consider pardoning even those who pleaded guilty to crimes, including assaulting
Already said
police
yes, you
officers.
idiot.
Sometimes they say, here's your choice.
You're not ruling it out.
She's so dumb.
I know the system. The system's a very corrupt system. They say to a guy, you're going to go to jail for 2 years or for 30 years. And these guys are looking, their whole lives have been destroyed. For 2 years, they've been destroyed. But the system is a
Good man. Yeah, I got it, bro. I'm going to listen to it as soon as I get off this.
very nasty system.
Okay. Let's
Yeah,
move
I'm going to
on.
look at everything. We're going to look at individual
Everyone.
cases. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm going to be
him
acting
finish.
very quickly.
Within your first 100 days, first day?
First day.
Yeah.
First day.
Yeah, I'm looking
You're going
first
to issue
day.
these pardons.
These people have been there. How long is it? 3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, by
For
the way,
nothing.
they've been in there for years. And they're in a filthy, disgusting place that shouldn't even be allowed to be open.
Let's talk about your cabinet picks. I know we started off talking about Pete Hegseth, but I just want to return to that very quickly. Have you gotten assurances from senators that he's going to be confirmed? Do you
No.
think he can make it?
No, I think you will, yeah. I've had a lot of senators call me up saying he's fantastic.
You don't drink yourself.
No.
You've talked about how devastating drinking can be.
Yeah.
How concerned are you that the person who you picked for this top job at the Defense Department,
Oh, that's disgusting
at
question.
least according to those who've worked with him, has struggled with drinking?
But I've spoken.
No, this is 10 plus years ago that I believe he commented on and said this. Again, this woman's just a disgusting human being inside and out. Such a fake journalist. But you will never see her challenge or ask hard questions in regards to Democrats because they are puppets for the Democrat Party. She is disgusting.
To people that know him very well, and they say he does not have a drinking problem. And, you know, he had a lot of knives out for him. A lot of people don't want to see the military made better.
Let me ask you about former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. You picked her to
Love
be
her.
the Director of National
Love her.
Intelligence.
Right.
Yes.
In 2017,
Yes.
she had 2 secret meetings with Syrian dictator Bashar
Oh, my.
al-Assad. Do you have questions or concerns about those meetings?
No. And he's got bigger problems right now.
Well, do you think it
Because
makes it hard for her?
His country is
Yeah.
collapsing.
I mean, do you think it compromises her
look,
ability
I
to
met
handle
with
that?
Putin. I met with President Xi of China. I met with Kim Jong-un twice. Does that
When
mean
you
that
were
I can't be
president.
president?
Well, when you were president, they
No,
weren't
I know,
secret
but look,
meetings.
People meet, all these people meet. I mean, I see some of the most dishonest people. I'll tell you, the 51 agents that said that the laptop
Yes.
wasn't from Hunter, it was from
I'm
Russia.
telling you, do not answer any of these questions, Trump. Just keep on bringing up good-hearted points like that. Don't even respond to her questions. Just start pop, pop, pop. You guys lied about this. You lied about this. CIA did this. FBI did that. I'm telling you, red pill moments left and right now going on, people.
What about them? Tell me about them. Do you think they did something wrong? Do you think they were all so stupid that they thought that the laptop from hell?
So you have confidence in Tulsi Gabbard?
Oh, sorry, guys. Oh, she's drunk and high.
I mean, she's a very respected person.
Let me ask you about RFK Jr. He has obviously talked about his skepticism of
Yeah,
vaccines. He's
very
expressed
disrespectful.
opposition to
Very.
childhood vaccines. Do you want to see childhood vaccines eliminated?
if they're dangerous for the
If
children.
there is no long-term testing on these, and I can't get a ban again because YouTube did this the last time I talked about COVID with the Chicago Conservative for literally 30 seconds. They banned me for 2 weeks from posting nothing. But anyways, if we can't have long-term studies before the population gets, the magic shot, then we shouldn't be putting them out at all. There should be long-term studies, is all he says. And there's better ways of living healthy, eating healthy, instead of just taking all this stuff that the big pharmaceutical chains who've made billions off these vaccines want to do. They want us to continue to do it. But working out, eating right, taking care of your body like I do. I work out every day or almost every day. That's the way to go. It's definitely the way to go. Eat healthy, train your body right. Bam.
Look,
So possibly,
when you look at some of the problems, when you look at what's going on with disease and sickness in our country, something's wrong.
are you talking about autism?
Well, if you take a look at autism, you go back 25 years, autism was almost non-existent. It was, 1 out of 100,000. And now it's close to 1 out of 100.
Yep.
Well,
I mean,
Yep.
what's happening? If they can find it. Now, I did something the other night that was a little unusual. At Mar-a-Lago, I called the drug companies, the top drug companies, and I called RFK Jr. and Dr. Oz and some of his people.
Oh, I like that.
And I said, let's all get together and let's figure out where we're going, because we're going to do a lot of things. Number one, we're going to reduce prices, because the middleman
that.
makes more money than the drug companies, in all fairness to the drug companies. There's a middleman that nobody even knows who they are. And you look at our drug prices, they're much higher than the prices for the same medicine, for the same stuff.
Yeah.
So we met, and we met for a long time. And we talked about pricing, and we talked about vaccines, in terms of what happens. We talked about pesticides. We talked about everything. And I think a lot of good things are going to come from him. And he's not going to upset any system. He's not going to upset this. He's not looking to, to reinvent the wheel totally. But when you look at the numbers, we really don't have a very healthy country.
Well, sir,
Yep.
going back 25 years, studies show that there is no link between vaccines and autism. And yet it sounds like
Holy crap. Does this woman just have any integrity at all? She just reads the lines off from the FBI, who we don't trust, CIA that we don't trust, this administration that we don't trust. I mean, when it comes to numbers, they've lied about everything in this administration. Job reports, border crosses, just amazing that there's people this dumb, I'm going to say again, on big media networks. But I mean, she sold her soul. Whatever they'll pay her, she'll say.
you are open to the possibility of him looking
I'm
at
open to
getting rid of
anything.
them?
I think somebody has to
Yep.
find out.
You're right,
If
Squid
you
Man.
go back 25 years ago, you had very little autism. Now you have
True.
it. I mean,
Well, they say because they're better at identifying it.
1 in 100,000, and now it's 1 in 100. That's a pretty bad number.
Childhood vaccines.
I mean,
have
something
present-
is going on. I don't know if it's vaccines. Maybe it's
Yeah.
maybe
surprised
it's
YouTube
chlorine
allowed
in the
this.
water, right? People are looking at a lot of different things.
childhood
I
vaccines.
want them to look at everything.
Everything. So childhood vaccines have prevented about 4 million deaths around the world.
And how do you know that?
That's great.
Isn't that?
How do they even know that? How do they know that? That's literally just these numbers are coming from the same pharmaceutical companies who've lied to us about everything. So I want to see some proof and some data behind that, because I don't believe in nothing that comes out of the government's mouth at all. I mean, I think you guys have broken our trust in regards to the border. So if I don't trust you on one thing, I don't trust you on anything. So why should we believe anything that are coming out of these corrupt cronies' mouth, especially Kristen Welker? She's just an idiot.
For it, I think it's great. Hey, look, I'm not against vaccines. The polio vaccine is the greatest thing. If somebody told me get rid of the polio vaccine, they're going to have to work real hard to convince me. I think certain vaccines are incredible, but maybe some
Nope.
aren't. And if they aren't, we have to find out. But when you talk about autism, because it was brought up, and you look at the amount we have today versus 20 or 25 years ago, it's pretty scary.
Well, again, scientists say that's because they've gotten better
gonna-
at
I think we're gonna
identifying it,
know,
and there's
yeah.
no link in
But
studies.
the drug
so-
companies are going to be working with RFK Jr. and he's been an interesting guy to me. I've watched him for 25 years, and he's been an interesting guy.
Let's talk about Elon Musk. Another.
Let me know if you guys can still see me on YouTube, because Facebook just blocked me. It says Disney Enterprise Inc. blocked your video because it may contain content they own. So on Facebook, they're not letting me post this video live. So please let me know. You can at least see it off Twitter and YouTube. Sorry, guys.
Interesting person.
He's very interesting.
Last month, one of your allies said, quote, he's behaving as if he's a co-president. Will you
Sweet. Thank you,
favor
Squidman.
Elon Musk over other leaders of
No.
competitor companies like Jeff Bezos, Mary Barra?
No, Jeff Bezos called me. We're having dinner. As you know, Mark Zuckerberg came in. We had a really nice dinner. He asked to have dinner. I had dinner with him. I'm having dinner with everybody. People like me now. You know, it's something going on that people. I said, would you have come to dinner
Love
with
it.
me if I lost? I think the answer is no. You know, I said nicely, kiddingly, of course, because I don't want to sound foolish.
Thank you,
But
guys.
I say
Appreciate it.
jokingly, would you have been here at dinner if I lost? And the answer was probably not.
Of course
Look,
not.
I'm getting called by everybody. It's very interesting. It's different than the first. You know, when I won the first time, I wasn't nearly as popular as this. And one thing that's very important in terms of the election, I love that I won the popular vote and by a lot. If I didn't,
1.6%.
because they
You had to say that.
they would go.
You had to say that because you know they've all been saying it was barely by a little bit, but the popular vote is huge. And I mean, just the fact that the only states it seems like Kamala won were the ones that didn't require voter ID, my state included in that, California. Let me tell you, I wear my Trump hat everywhere except to work because they won't allow it. But, and I'm talking about gyms, stores, I always get approached. People love Trump. I might get like one mean mug to every 20 to 30 people that pull me over saying, hey, where'd you get that hat? We love that hat. Go Trump, go Trump. I mean, even the workers at the gym I go to on multiple locations where my girlfriend lives and in my area, they always say, hey, I love the hat. Go Trump. I never see like Kamala supporters. And if I do, it's very rare.
Oh, with the other one, they say, while he didn't win the popular vote, he won a lot of, you know, I won a lot of the electoral college. But
Yeah.
but they would always
Michael.
preface it by
I love
saying,
it.
now they say he won the popular vote and he won the electoral college and he won all 7 swing states. That was a great election.
Very quickly, because we're going to talk about the election coming up, but you've tapped
so
Elon Musk,
terrible.
Vivek Ramaswamy, to head up this Department of Government Efficiency,
Correct.
which proposes cuts to the federal government.
Yep.
I think a lot of people hear
Thank
that
you.
and they get concerned about Medicare and Social Security
No,
and,
no, we
Medicare.
don't.
anything to
No,
do
we
and,
don't.
We're
and
talking
defense
about-
spending.
We're talking
You
about
won't touch
theft,
Medicare, Social Security.
abuse,
Okay.
fraud. No, I said
Don't
to
the I'm sorry I keep pausing it, but yeah, Michael, that was super funny when she did that, huh? And it was so expected too. But it's so funny because they say this every 4 years. I mean, the election's over, so it's pointless to lie at this point. The Democrats always say, "Oh, your Medicare and Social Security is going to get cut." Blah 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 blah. It's not true. It's never been true.
be, we're not touching Social Security, other than we make it more efficient, but the people are going to get what they get.
Okay, so the entitlements
And
off
we're not
the table.
we're not raising ages or any of that stuff.
Okay,
No,
off the
I
table.
won't do it.
Okay, let's turn to foreign policy.
Yeah, Squid Man.
Should Ukraine prepare for less aid from the United States after you're sworn into
Possibly.
office?
Duh.
Probably. Sure.
Why should we give billions to Ukraine when we have homeless Americans on the street, homeless veterans that can't even feed their families or themselves? Or how about that we have a mental illness crisis in the U.S.? Or how about an open border? Or how about funding Americans and cities in America to make them better? Or actually roads and bridges, because our roads look like crap in the state of California, let me tell you that much. Or how about cleaning up the homeless crisis? Let's spend the billions that we've sent to Ukraine on that. America first all day.
You've said you can end the war in
We're in for
24
350 billion, and Europe is in for 100
Insane.
billion. Why isn't Europe in for the same as us? The one thing that should happen is that Europe should come in
We shouldn't pay a
for,
cent.
they should equalize. And, you know, Biden, all he had to do, like I did with NATO, I said, you got to pay your bills. They weren't paying their bills.
Nope.
And as you know, the Secretary General said, President Trump got 600 billion, no, 640 to be exact. And I used to use the 400 billion number. He corrected me. He said, no, you actually got $641 billion put in, because I said you have to pay your bills.
Yeah, Squid
We were
Man.
paying for NATO. And you know why?
Also, in your state, and I always forget, was it North Carolina, or where did the big act, the tragedy happen recently? with a hurricane. They're actually, it's a huge land grab. I'm hearing that they're literally just swiping and taking the lands away from the people of, was it North Carolina? I'm sorry, I know I'm going to be wrong, but where did the hurricane happen? Just like Maui, just like Ohio, they just leave Americans behind because it's usually just a land grab for lithium or just to take over Americans' lands because they don't care about us at all. Hence why FEMA's literally spent all of the money, which our taxes pay into. Where's the money?
I got the money because I asked for it. It wasn't that
Tennessee.
complicated.
Sorry, bro. Tennessee. That's right.
Europe is in for a fraction, and war with Russia is more important for Europe than it is for us. It's important for everybody, but it's more important for Europe than it is for us.
And you've said
We
you
have a
can,
little thing called
My bad. Remember, I hurt my head, so my thought process isn't all there. So give me the excuse the one time. But yeah, I know. I should have known better. I've already asked you. My bad.
an ocean in between us.
you said you can end the war in 24 hours. You've even said you want to try to end it.
Real quick, Russia wants peace treaties, and regardless what side you're on, if we didn't help them enter NATO or even talk about it while pushing Russia closer and closer, this would have never happened. I mean, we had a peace treaty on the table. It looked like they did actually, because we're not in Russia or Ukraine, and Boris Johnson was sent down Joe Biden to break up that peace treaty, or actually Boris Johnson was sent by Joe Biden to do that. So you could blame that on this administration, why the Russia-Ukraine war ever even started. Because under Trump, Putin didn't invade anything. Why is that? He invaded previous two presidents and under Biden, but not Trump. Why is that?
Before you're sworn
Well, I'm
into
trying
office,
to.
before
I'm
the,
trying
you're,
to end
you're
it if I
actively
can.
trying to?
I am.
Have you talked to President Putin?
No, I have not.
You haven't talked to President Putin
No, I have
since
not.
you've been
You
elected?
mean no? Well, I don't want to
Exactly.
say that.
Real peace,
but I
yes.
haven't spoken to him recently.
So you've spoken to President Putin since you've
I
been
don't want
elected?
to say that. I don't want to say anything about that because I don't want to do anything that could impede the negotiation.
But you
I want to
have
stop it.
talked about
Let me
the
tell you
other
what I
world
have talked
leaders.
about. Let me tell
Okay.
you. There are people being killed in
He's
that war
terrible.
at levels that nobody's ever seen before. You have to go back to the Second World War. And even that, if you take a look at, and you know what it is? It's the soldiers largely. The cities have been emptied out and demolished. The country has been
Yeah,
demolished.
and I mean, if you just look into the money where Ukraine's gone, a lot of the money has no tracking at all. They can't even track and tell us, the American people who've fit the bill, like been paying for the bill for the past 4 years. They can't tell us what they've spent it on, but you see him in these nice whips. You see these Ukrainians getting caught literally with millions in their homes. I mean, we are being told zero about where this money's going to, but I'll tell you where it goes. Why do you think Hunter Biden and Joe Biden were contracted with Burisma in Ukraine? Do you think that's a coincidence that when Trump called Ukrainian president when he first was elected, hey, look into this, this is weird, then all of a sudden when Joe Biden gets elected under this fake 2020 election, all of a sudden we send all these billions to Ukraine? Are people that stupid? They do not really see the connection between Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, and the Ukrainian government. It's all just a money washing industry. That's it. They're funneling our money and returning it back into the corrupt politicians and Ukrainian politicians. I mean, it's so obvious, I think, at this point.
If I won that election, which you know how I feel about it, I won't get into it because
They
we don't
tried to
need to start
impeach
that
Trump.
argument. I think it's an easy argument. It was really
Yep, war
proven
for
even
profit.
more
Yep,
conclusively by the
exactly.
win that I had on this one. But
But you did go
had
to court,
I,
sir. You
well,
didn't-
that's your
yeah,
opinion, but I
okay.
disagree with it. Had I
She's an idiot.
assumed, kept control,
Did you know you don't need a
Oh,
computer
sorry,
science
guys, one
degree to
sec.
work for companies like Tesla, IBM, Apple?
number one, Israel wouldn't have happened. Number two, Ukraine would have never happened. It would have never happened,
Yep,
Ukraine, Russia.
Exactly.
But the number of people that are being killed, soldiers, young, beautiful soldiers.
See, it's so sad because the corrupt politicians, the war machine, they don't care about how many innocent dead people are taking place. I mean, thousands upon thousands of people just died because these people have too big of egos to just stop the war, and they'd rather profit through bribing our politicians and just keep the money funneling while innocent people are getting pulled off the streets. I mean, I see videos and hear videos coming out of Ukraine all the time on Twitter of men just getting pulled off the streets or separated from their families and being forced onto the front lines of this war. Either side. I want both sides. I want innocent people to stop dying and be forced into the war machine's endless wars where they just get money out of dead people. It's very sad.
Hundreds of thousands of people are being killed. And you know, it's very interesting. It's level. totally level. The battlefields totally level. You know what's happening?
Yeah.
The only thing that stops a bullet, you know what it is a body, a human body.
Yep.
And the people that are being killed, hundreds of thousands on both sides. Russia's
So
lost
sad.
probably 500,000.
Devastating.
Ukraine's lost higher than they
He
say,
doesn't care.
probably 400,000. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of bodies laying all over fields. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen, and it
Yeah,
should have
it
never
is
been allowed
stupid.
to happen. Biden should have been able to stop it.
Sir, will the United States stay in NATO while you're in office?
In where?
NATO. Do you
What-
commit that the United States will?
I really don't get the point of NATO. I mean, until Trump came in, they were taking advantage of us. We were literally giving them protection with zero payment. And Trump came in and he's like, no, if we're going to give you protection, you're going to pay up. And it seems like literally right back to the same script the minute Biden gets in. He looks so weak when they take those NATO pictures. I just think of NATO as a big laughing stock. I don't see any seriousness at all. What exactly do? They didn't prevent war like they were supposed to. War still happened.
Remain a member of NATO while you're in office,
Again, they have to pay their bills.
Yes,
If they pay their
Karen,
bills,
yes.
absolutely.
but not if they don't pay their bills.
But NATO's taken advantage of us because we were look, two things. Number one, they take advantage of us on trade, meaning the European nations, okay, like terrible. They don't take our cars, they don't take our food product, they don't take anything. It's a disgrace. And on top of that, we defend them. So it's a double whammy. So let me just tell you, I was able to get hundreds of billions of dollars put into NATO just by a tough attitude. I said to the countries, I'm not going to protect you unless you pay. And they started paying. And that amounted to more than $600 billion. That's a big thing. Otherwise, they wouldn't even be fighting. They wouldn't have any money to fight. If they're paying their bills, and if I think they're treating us fairly, the answer is absolutely, I'd stay with NATO.
But if not, you would consider the possibility of getting it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's turn to the Middle East now, sir. There are still
Why
American.
can't these countries fight their own wars? Why do we have to help all these wars? I mean, we have a war that's about to start in America. I mean, BLM's coming back with their nonsense, and then we got these illegals in our country. I think a civil war is coming. They're going to try to start a civil war before Trump's inaugurated, because when he gets in, there's going to be no wars because he's going to end all the wars, and they can't have that. The war machine will not allow that. So they're going to try to create a civil war here in America.
American hostages being
Be
held
safe,
in Gaza.
everyone.
Yeah.
You said this week that if the hostages aren't released before Inauguration Day, quote, there will be all
Yes,
hell
they
to
have,
pay.
Squid Man.
Correct.
What exactly did you mean? And do you still think that the hostages are alive?
I'm not a big believer in the fact that there are too many of them living, sadly, because I've seen the way they've been treated. I talk about the young girl that was pulled by her hair violently and thrown into the back of a car like she was a sack of potatoes. And I said, that's hatred. And then I said, how did that young girl do? Beautiful young girl just dragged by her hair. You remember, blood pouring all over her body. You can imagine the parents thrown into the back of a car by some horrible guy. And I said, how is she? She's dead. She died, sir. I don't think you have as many. I mean, I hate to say it. I think you have far fewer hostages than people think.
Really?
That's what I think
it.
It's only my opinion, but
Okay.
I've been right on just about everything.
That's true.
Are you going to pressure Prime Minister Netanyahu, with whom you have a very good relationship, to end the war in Gaza?
Yeah, sure.
And
I
have
want
you
him to
already
end it.
started that process?
I want him to end it, but you gotta have a victory. People forget about October 7th. That was as violent. And you know what's happening? I noticed that a lot of people are saying, oh, it never really happened. That's like the Holocaust. You have Holocaust deniers. Now you have October 7th deniers, and it just happened. No, October 7th happened. And I've seen the pictures. What happened is horrible.
If China invades Taiwan on your watch, are you committed to
I
defending
never
Taiwan?
say.
Still won't say.
I never say, because I have to negotiate things, right?
Can you just say if you'll defend
prefer
it?
that
I'm not
they
saying if
don't.
the U.S. military.
I'd prefer
Again,
that.
I've been saying this throughout the whole time. He doesn't trust you, Kristen Welker. You're a fake news journalist. He's not going to tell you the whole plan. I guaranteed with a lot of answers this interview, and Trump's really good with this. He's playing her. He's totally playing her, and she's trying to get these gotcha moments. It doesn't work with Trump at all. He's not going to give you his full plan, because if he does, then the enemies will know what the hell is going to come.
But they don't do it. I have a very good relationship with President Xi. We have been communicating with each other.
Since you were elected?
Yes.
And you
since
sent
like-
that message?
Since like 3 days ago. Yes, we communicate.
And you sent that message to him, don't
We
invade
didn't talk
Taiwan?
about that. We talked about other things. But I have a very good relationship, and I hope he doesn't do it.
This week, a federal court upheld a law that could result in TikTok being banned. You said you're going to rescue TikTok when you get
question.
into office. Are you going to take
Well, the
steps
problem
to
with the
protect
TikTok,
it?
Yeah, and as you know, I used TikTok very successfully in my campaign. I have a man named TikTok Jack. He was very effective, obviously, because I won youth by 30%. All Republicans lose youth. I don't know why. Maybe it's changing. And last time we were down 30% with youth. This time we're up 35% with youth. And I use TikTok, so I can't really, I can't totally hate it. It was
Because up until Trump, we had rhinos. I mean, there were some good apples, but we had warmonger rhino neocons. That's why, like Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney and Mitt Romney. Now we have Trump. I mean, we got Matt Gaetz. We got Kash Patel. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
very effective. But I will say this, if you do that, something else is going to come along and take its place. And maybe that's not fair. What they're doing, and really what the judge actually said was that you can't have Chinese companies. In other words, they have the right to ban it if you can prove that the Chinese companies own it. That's what the judge actually
So are you
said.
going to try to protect TikTok just very quick once you're in office?
I'm going to try and make it so that other companies don't become an even bigger monopoly,
Okay.
because that's what happens.
We're winding down, and I know you have a plane to catch.
I do.
This is your first interview since you won the election.
Congratulations.
Yes,
I hope
congratulations to you.
I hope you do well with it.
Yes, and sir, I don't have to tell you this because you've talked about it. It comes at a time when the country is deeply divided.
Yeah, that's because the Democrat Party. 100% it's because the Democrat Party. Don't act stupid, woman. You're one of the big reasons why it's like that. But she'll play like it's his fault in his words.
And now you're going to be leading this country for the next 4 years. For the sake of unifying this country, will you concede the 2020 election?
Oh
and
my
turn the page on that
gosh.
chapter?
Oh my gosh.
Why would I do
Are you
that?
kidding
Let me
me?
just tell you,
You
when
won't
you
have
What
say
a stupid question. Will you concede the 2020 election? Oh, you mean like the Democrats did when he won in 2016? Oh, what about that? And they don't bring it up at all, even though for the 4 years there was witch hunts. They literally said he wasn't that Russia hoax, that Russia was the reason he got in to the White House, or how about the Obama administration spying on his political campaign opponent? Like, this is such a joke of a question. We're sick of hearing this question daily.
the country is deeply divided, I'm not the president. Joe Biden's the president.
But you're going to be the president.
No. I'm not the president. So when you say it's deeply divided, I agree. But Biden's the president, I'm not. And he has been a divider. And you know where he divided it more than anything else, and it probably backfired on him, I think definitely, is weaponization. When he weaponized the Justice Department and he went after his political opponent, me, he went after his political opponent violently because he knew he couldn't beat him. And I think it really was a bad thing. And it really divided our country.
Sir, Democrats have control of the White House now. They didn't in 2020. If
Oh,
they
here
are
we go.
going around stealing elections, why
When you
did
say
they do it
Democrats
this
have
time
control now,
of the White House?
Yeah.
So why didn't they steal this election? Since they have more power now.
She's
because
so
I think it
dumb.
was too big to rig.
So you won't,
Too big to rig.
to the people who say that you're now directing your Justice Department to investigate 2020
no,
and they want to
Oh
move
my
ahead.
Very careful.
God.
I
That
think
a
Pam
good
is going to
use
be
of
great.
All you need to do is go on Twitter and type in 2020 election, and there are articles, videos, pictures, emails, their words themselves to the Democrats. I mean, we should do a deep dive soon into that, and I will, but I mean, YouTube will probably ban me for doing a video like that. But yeah, 2020 election was not fair at all. And I mean, the fact that she's trying to get these gotcha moments is just hilarious.
Precious resources.
By the
But
way,
is that what you
just so
want
you
them
know-
to do?
Just so you know, I have the right to do that, but I'm not interested in that.
Oh,
I
you're
wanna-
not. You're not
I
going
wanna
to do that.
I'm not interested. I have
Okay.
the absolute right. I'm the chief law enforcement officer. You do know that. I'm the president. But I'm not interested in that. You know what I'm interested in? Drilling and getting prices down and stopping people from pouring into our border that come from prisons and mental institutions.
Last two questions here. One of the things
here
that
we
made
go.
this campaign unprecedented and extraordinary
Which
were the
were-
horrific attempts against your life.
Oh, good question.
2 assassination attempts. Do you feel safe going into the White House
I
for
do.
the next 4 years? Why?
I have confidence in Secret
Why?
Service. I know the people. I got to know a lot of them, and I have confidence. It was a bad moment. Something shouldn't have happened. but I have a lot of confidence, and they've really stepped it up. They were restricted from giving look, I do a rally, and you were at many of them, and I'd have 50,000 people. Joe would have a rally, and he'd have 30 people. And he had more Secret Service than me. My Secret Service was always asking for more manpower / women power. They were asking for more and more and more, and they couldn't get it. I'm not blaming them really, because they were always fighting for more people, and they wouldn't get. Now, boy, do we have it.
I know it was hard on your entire family. What can people expect from the First Lady in this second administration? What role will she play? She obviously had her Be Best campaign.
She's very liked, loved, and she's very respected.
Yep. Yes, she
Families
is.
across
Oh,
California
come on, guys.
trust Insight School of California with their child's education.
And she's a very solid person, and she devotes a lot of time to helping children. You know what she does, and she's got her Be Best deal that is incredible what she's done. The one thing I say, whether it's First Lady or my children did such a good job, and they were treated very badly by the press and others. Ivanka was unbelievable what she did, and she all she wanted to do is one thing: get people jobs. She could have been the UN secretary. I said to her, she would have been unbelievable. She's got the whole package for that, including right up there. She's as smart as she didn't want. She said, "Daddy, I want to work on getting people jobs." You know, she'd go to Walmart, she'd go to X such a. She produced millions of jobs for people. Not glamorous. Most people didn't know she did it, and she was always being excoriated. And I said to my kids, "Don't come in. Don't come in." It's just
you said to them, "Don't."
I said to them, "Yeah."
But will you miss having them there? Will it feel different? They were your top advisors.
I'll tell you what, I'll miss them, and they're really competent. But I say, just go have fun, do your business, do whatever you want to do, but don't come in, because no matter what they did such a great job. Although I have to say, Lara did a phenomenal job as the head of the Republican National Committee, along with Michael.
What will the First Lady's role be, do you think? Will she continue her Be Best campaign?
She's a very elegant First Lady. She was a very successful woman before that in the modeling and other things, but in the modeling, very successful. The press, I can't say treated her unfairly. You know why? Because she's very popular. You would think if the press was unfair, like to me, the press was obviously unfair to me. No president has ever gotten treated by the press.
If you're here from Twitter, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Politics and Life. Sorry about that.
Like I was. And yet I got more votes than any Republican candidate in history, by far. It's not even close. So you say, what's that all about? The press has to straighten itself out, because honestly, it's lost all credibility. When that can happen, based on the press, I should have gotten no votes, none. And yet I got the highest number ever. And the reason is because I'm able to go on a show, even like yours, even though you're very hostile, I'm able to go on a show like yours. No, you are.
Well, hopefully you thought it was a fair interview. We covered a lot of policy ground.
It's fair only in that you allowed me to say what I say. But, the answers, the questions are, pretty nasty. But look,
I love it.
I've seen you interview other people like Biden.
Bam, here we go. Call her out. Put her in place. He's about to say, you don't even ask questions like this, and you let him lie nonstop. She's the DNC shield. That's why.
And
I've never interviewed President Biden.
When I say you, I'm talking metaphorically. I've seen George Stephanopoulos interview Biden. And he's a tough interviewer. It's the softest interview. I've seen CNN interview him. They give these soft, what's your favorite ice cream? It's a whole different deal. I don't understand why. You would think the press would like to see strong borders, great education, a powerful military, so we have a country left, and all these different things. And somehow they don't want to see that.
Let me ask you, hopefully you think this interview was fair. We spent a lot of time talking about your policy in your second administration. I want to ask you, sir, one final question. Bro. What do you want to say to Americans who didn't support you in this campaign?
I'm going to treat you every bit as well as I have treated the greatest MAGA supporters. There's never been anything like MAGA in the history of this country.
That's true.
These people are so dedicated to making America great again. It's very simple. And I'm going to treat them just the same as I treat MAGA.
She knows he's talking straight to her about her and calling her out to her face. And she's like, I hope you think this was a fair interview. No, it wasn't. Not at all.
We're going to treat everybody good. We want success for our country. We want safety for our country. Our country is under threat, as you know. We have a tremendous threat militarily because of the power of weapons and weaponry. It's a tremendous threat. Nobody talks about it, but it's a tremendous threat. I want to treat everybody the same. I want to treat them well. And at the end of this 4 years, and I have a big head start because I was there for 4 years fairly recently. A lot of bad things were done during the 4 years that I wasn't there. And mostly in what they've done in terms of our reputation overseas.
They look embarrassing.
Our reputation is so bad.
We look
so
pathetic.
shot. I got to bring it back.
I saw a video the other day, and this is a group of military men, and it's all just men, and it looks like almost a dorm, and they have this dildo attached to the wall, and this dude's deep throating this, and they're all dressed in American military uniform. How embarrassing does this look? You think Russia, all these other countries, China, all of our enemies are thinking we're serious? No, they're not. Especially with this drag queen crap that they're bringing in the military, or having these generals, transgender generals. It's so laughable.
And I also have to bring back civilization to our country.
Frustrating too.
Our country is a crime pot, and we have to get rid of crime. We have so many things to do. We have to do the prices. We have to do all of that. But we have to get the criminals out of our country. We have to bring down crime. People have to be able to walk across the street and buy a loaf of bread without being shot. And that's going to happen. But what I say to them is, I love you, and we're going to all work together, and we're going to bring it together. And you know what's going to bring it together? Success. I saw that just prior to COVID coming in.
Yep.
I had polls that were the highest anyone. McLaughlin and Fabrizio said, George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, if they came back from the dead and they ran as president and vice president, couldn't beat you, sir. We were doing so well. And I was getting along with the left. Let's call it the left. We'll be nice. Okay, we're just going to call it. But I was getting along with people that you would consider liberal or progressive, as they like to say, at levels that I never thought was possible. And you know what it was? Success. Success was bringing the country together. And that's what I want to do.
We'll leave it there unless you'd like to say anything more.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the honor
Very much.
of
Great
this.
honor.
She's terrible. What a terrible fake journalist. That transgender stuff needs to stop in the military, especially. Yeah, it makes us look like a laughing stock around the world. You don't see that crap around the world. I mean, you see Russia or China's like their videos try to reel people in to join the military. I forgot the term for it, but they actually like badass men, like manly men are joining them. They're jumping out of airplanes. We have transgender story hour. It's such a joke. But I hope you guys enjoyed that interview like I did. Trump owns it as usual because it's Trump's time. Trump 2024, actually 2025, because he's about to be sworn in. Hope you guys are excited as I am because it's time to fix this country that the Democrats have destroyed the past 4 years. Please like, comment, subscribe. Love you guys. Have a great night. Peace.